Right now on the National Weather Desk, Hurricane Otis slams into the Mexican coast as a Category 5 storm, threatening the region with catastrophic damage. The first snow of the season is falling across northern and western states. The Mississippi River falls to critically low levels, threatening critical barge traffic. We have some advice on fall lawn care, including what you should not do with all those leaves. Georgia leads the nation in peanut production. We'll see how this year's crop is faring and why this fish washing up on a California beach is such a big deal.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie. Hurricane Otis grew from a tropical storm to a dangerous Category 5 hurricane in a matter of hours Tuesday. It made landfall overnight in southern Mexico, bringing what some forecasters are calling a nightmare scenario. Otis packed winds of 165 miles per hour as it pounded the coast near Acapulco. Those winds are expected to cause catastrophic damage. Up to 20 inches of rain is forecasted for the area, along with life-threatening storm surge. Otis is expected to quickly weaken as it travels over the region's steep mountains. It's the first Category 5 storm ever to make landfall in the eastern Pacific. In the Atlantic, Hurricane Tammy is still on track to approach Bermuda this weekend. Right now, the forecast calls for Tammy to pass just south of the island as a tropical storm. Snow is now falling across portions of the northern Rockies and Plains. Winter storm warnings are posted from Washington's Cascade Mountains through Montana, Wyoming, and North Dakota. More than a foot will fall in some areas, with temperatures falling into the teens. And this was the scene overnight in Great Falls, Montana. As you can see, the roads were already covered with snow. Hannah Knowles is at Snoqualmie Pass, about an hour east of Seattle, with a look at conditions.
Time to get those skis and snowboards waxed because winter is here. Check out all this snow here at Snoqualmie Pass. And although this may bring big business to mountain resorts, it also brings treacherous driving conditions. A winter storm warning bringing heavy snow to the mountains and seasonal rain to the Puget Sound.
I think we need it. We've been dry the summer was pretty dry and had some fires going, and be great for some good wet weather right now.
A welcoming return for many who say they're ready to hit the slopes and see the comforting layer of white winter snow.
I love the snow. I snowboard too, so it's exciting.
This is getting to be real winter.
Although only October, drivers are preparing to now face the hazardous conditions winter weather may bring.
Pull over, chain up, and make sure I'm safe and head on down the hill.
Well, usually following a plow or just going real slow or not driving at all.
Even WashDOT crews pre-treating the roads and making sure snowplows are ready to tackle whatever may come.
Slow down and take it easy. You can't go bumper to bumper flying down the road at 75, 80 miles an hour.
And like they say, when in Washington, expect the unexpected. You never know what Mother Nature might have up her sleeve.
I'm used to this kind of stuff.
It's Washington, so you gotta always expect the unexpected with the weather.
The drought across the Deep South continues to take a toll on the Mississippi River. In some places, water levels have dropped 10 feet since September 1st. As Scott Simmons reports, that's making it tough for barges to navigate the river.
Crew members from a ship traveling the Mississippi River are having to be shuttled on shore using much smaller boats because of the low river conditions. Chief Engineer Jock Devin says it's getting harder to navigate.
It's really rough, a whole bunch of low spots, and it's kind of all hands-on thing because you gotta really watch out because you gotta be prepared for grounding at any time.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has dredging vessels moving up and down the waterway. Not only is the shoreline becoming more visible by the shrinking river, but dangerous sandbars like this one are dramatically reducing river traffic.
We're seeing stages that we hadn't seen since 2012.
The Corps says it is a constant battle from Cairo, Illinois, south to New Orleans. Those barge vessels moving from troubled spot to troubled spot.
Anywhere we have a crossing going from a right bend to a left bend, that's where the water flow slows down a little bit, and we have problem areas there. So the challenge is when the dredge is working in a narrow channel, the river closes.
And that impact is being felt at the port in Vicksburg, where they are down to using one dock to on and offload cargo because the water is so low.
Millions of dollars of impact and also reduction of efficiencies, right? And so that has an effect that kind of goes down the line.
The drought is also increasing the risk of fires across the region. The Alabama Forestry Commission issued a fire alert for the entire state and is severely restricting burn permits. Gracie Johnson has more.
This brush fire off of Mud Creek Road in Jefferson County has been burning since Sunday. It's an example of how quickly fires can get out of control when conditions are this dry. Firefighters in Walker County have recently responded to several wildfires of their own.
With it being so windy as it is and everything is dry like it is, it's really easy for stuff just to catch up, and it'll get going real fast, gets away from people.
The Alabama Forestry Commission reintroduced the statewide fire alert Tuesday morning. Under the alert, no burn permits will be issued with 32 northern counties. Chilton, Coosa, and Clay counties are included with the 35 southern counties, where certified prescribed burn managers will have the option to obtain a one-day burn permit. Juan Merriweather with the Alabama Forestry Commission says this has been one of the driest years he's seen.
For the past few years we've had, we pretty much had pretty wet years annually, but currently this is pretty bad right now.
Anyone who violates the fire alert by burning a field, grassland, or woodland could be subject to prosecution for committing a Class B misdemeanor.
Toxic blue-green algae has been a problem in southern Florida for some time now. A study is trying to determine if exposure can impact long-term health. Dylan Huberman is in West Palm Beach with more.
It could be groundbreaking, which is why I believe we are still funded to do this work, is it's important.
The potential long-term impacts of exposure to blue-green algae under the microscope. Principal investigator and FAU Associate Professor Rebecca Kozelinski says they're studying blood samples of people who have been around blue-green algae for different lengths of time and at different proximities in the school's clinical research unit.
Did they get in the water? Did they swim for 20 minutes? Did they swallow it? Did they get it in their eyes or their ears? So many variables.
The long-term effects of exposure to harmful algal bloom study known as LEHABs is trying to determine not just overall health risks, but it's also looking into whether it could worsen your pre-existing conditions, like asthma.
We're looking at impact over time rather than looking at just a specific snapshot. We're looking at how long does it take before there are effects, and if there are effects, what are they? How negative are they? And if we can do that, then possibly we can predict and prevent.
They will also ask questions about your health history, including if you've had COVID and any other pre-existing conditions.
People wanted to know. It was a question that was posed by the people of Florida. We have these blue-green algae blooms. What does this mean for our health? That's the question we're trying to answer.
Depending on where you live, time is running out to catch great fall colors. Everywhere you see black on this map from explorefall.com means that the region is past peak color. Peak is happening right now where you see red, especially New England, parts of the plains, and the Pacific Northwest. Peak has yet to arrive in a large portion of the country, from high color in Michigan to no color at all in Florida and most of Texas. And check out this creepy looking guy. It's an anglerfish, and more specifically a Pacific football fish. It washed ashore at California's Crystal Cove State Park this month. Seeing one intact is very rare, as they live at depths of 2,000 to 3,000 feet. Only females have the long stalk on their head. It has bioluminescent tips used to lure prey. There are reportedly only 31 other specimens like this in museums across the world, and yes, it is the same type of fish that played a small role in the movie Finding Nemo. How old is the moon? Well, a new study suggests the moon is a lot older than previously thought, about 40 million years older. Researchers analyzed soil and rock samples taken during the Apollo 17 mission in 1972, which was the last time people walked on the moon. The new study was able to take a closer look at the age of zircon crystals found in those samples. Scientists now believe the moon was formed 110 million years after the solar system's birth. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll talk with an expert about the best way to care for your lawn during the fall season. Plus, tips on how to prepare your house for the winter months ahead.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
As the leaves start falling from the trees, you may be dreading that daunting task of raking and bagging. Well, Emily Gracie recently spoke to an expert about how not cleaning up the leaves may actually benefit your yard.
The leaves are a source of nutrients. So when you allow the leaves to remain on the landscape, they recycle those nutrients back into the soil system. And they are also a source of organic matter. So that improves the structure of the soil. It lets water infiltrate better. It has a better balance of air and water in the soil system when you improve the soil structure. You can't let a thick layer of leaves lay on your lawn because that will exclude light and it won't allow the lawn to grow properly. It can't photosynthesize without light.
Okay, so a lot of, like in my neighborhood, I see a lot of people and landscapers bagging up leaves and sending them off to be going somewhere. So I'm curious, first of all, where are they going and is that beneficial?
Well, no. I mean, that is taking a resource which should be put back into the landscape and sending it away. Why would you do that? Why would you get rid of resources that you have available to you?
What about our lawn? So we want to get the leaves off the lawn. How can we care for our lawn in the fall?
The first thing I would say is to use a mulching mower and mulch up the leaves and return them to the lawn. Fall is the right time to fertilize. It's when grass plants are growing roots and they're growing shoots in the form of tillers, which are just little shoots that are produced right next to existing grass plants, and rhizomes, which are underground stems, and stolons, which are above ground stems. All of that is making a healthier, denser turf, which is what we want. If we think about natural systems, that's why leaves fall in the fall, because that's when plants need the fertilizer the most.
To hear more about fall lawn care and how to best design a yard that is beneficial to both you and to wildlife, head over to YouTube and check out the longer version of this interview. Just search the National Weather Desk. Although we're still in the middle of the fall season, now is the time to start getting your home ready for the freezing winter ahead. Meteorologist Sarah Converse looks at what you can do now to avoid issues down the road.
The winter season is right around the corner. The big fear for homeowners is freezing pipes.
I've seen up to $50,000 of the damage, especially if a homeowner isn't home, they're on vacation, and that water is just going to be running to their basement until they get home and realize that has burst and shut the water off. So it could be catastrophic.
When temperatures drop, it's always important to think ahead.
Another thing is if it is very cold out is letting your faucets drip. That allows the water to move and it doesn't let it sit there, which will allow it to freeze.
Some important advice when winterizing your home. 1, seal the cracks around exterior doorways and windows. That can help keep the draft out. 2, change the air filter in your furnace. It can be easy to forget, but it's important to change your furnace filter before winter hits. Your airflow is restricted when you have a dirty air filter and in turn increases energy demand. 3, clean out the gutters. It's amazing how fast leaves stick and other debris can build up in the gutters. 4, don't forget to disconnect your garden hose and drain it in preparation for freezing temperatures. These simple steps can make a world of a difference in the efficiency of your home and help to keep your money in your wallet instead of paying for costly winter repairs.
California's Millerton Lake now looks more like a pond than a reservoir, and the reduced water level is impacting boats docked at the marina. Rich Rodriguez explains what happened to all that water.
The water is so low at Millerton Lake that boats are sitting in the mud. It's quite a long stroll down the docks before you reach the water. Back in mid-July, water was streaming over the dam. The lake holds 520,000 acre-feet of water. It's now down to 146,000 acre-feet. So where did all the water go? The Bureau of Reclamation says it streamed into 2 major canals, the Madera and Friant Kern.
We've been preparing for this since June because we know the contractors wanted to get as much water out of the reservoir as they could for the subsidence project.
Jackson says in November, water will stop flowing down the Friant Kern so the repair project can get underway. That will continue into January. Right now, the water level is at 28% of capacity.
We don't want it to go any lower. it can go as much as about another 6 to 8,000 acre feet lower before we get below what we call our valves that go to the canals.
In the past month, the water level on average has dropped 2,800 acre feet per day. A boat owner told Fox 26 News if the water keeps dropping, more boats will end up in the mud. Jackson says reducing the water level was no secret.
We talked to the state parks who operates responsible for the marina, so they're included in our forecast.
Jackson says this is just about as low as the lake will go. In November, more water will be streaming in than going out.
Peanuts are one of Georgia's leading crops, and it's been a busy time of year for the growers in Middle Georgia, where an estimated 12,000 acres of peanuts were planted this year. Greg Lloyd traveled there to check on this year's crop.
University of Georgia Ag and Natural Resources agents such as Colby Royal offer help to peanut farmers before they start their harvest. Using a pressure washer, Royal cleans the hulls. The soil stains blasted away from several samples from one field can offer a pretty good idea if they're ready to come out of the ground.
Well, UGA calls it the peanut maturity clinics, and we run those on a board that tells us kind of, where our yield's at, how many days, we're waiting before digging.
At Triple K Produce Farm,
it's been a pretty fair season, moderate season. We've had an adequate amount of rain, and the crop looks fairly decent for this year.
Rhett Knight's crew started the harvest, and this year they're a little ahead of schedule.
We had a storm here a couple weeks ago, but other than that, we've been pretty fortunate.
Weather plays such a vital role in peanut growth. For example, spotty showers bringing extra rain to one farm may mean its peanuts are ready to go before a neighbor's field that missed the extra water. It's another reason peanut farmers find value in the maturity tests instead of relying solely on the standard growth cycle.
We don't really go by planting dates. We go by how good they're all on the chart, lined up on the chart to be maturity-wise, and which way will be the best way to get the best grade.
It has been a decent season. We've had a good bit of rainfall when we needed it. We hadn't had any really extreme drought.
While it's been a good year for most peanut farmers in the Telfair County area, they face the reality that it's no indication of what next year will bring.
A challenge to be a farmer. You always got plenty of different things coming upon you, different diseases, different insects, different weather. So it's all, no year's alike, all years are different.
And before we take a short break, let's soar over the beaches of South Carolina.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Previews of fall in North Carolina. First, an FS-15 Eagle streaks across Linville Gorge, surrounded by vibrant colors. Maybe you prefer a more tranquil setting along a river with maple leaves framing your view. And it's that time of year when the sun setting behind Whiteside Mountain creates a shadow that resembles a bear. It's only visible for about 30 minutes each evening.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Now that most places are seeing at least some fall foliage, roads around the country are starting to get covered in leaves. Meteorologist Natalie Walters explains why this could pose a serious risk.
Well, we're not quite in the season for icy roads just yet, but there is something out there that could make roads extra slick. And this thing is something we see a lot of this time of the year, and that is fall leaves. Now, of course, these leaves, they're beautiful, but they could also make the roads very hard to see, and then once it rains, they become very slippery, pretty much as slick as ice. So if you're driving and there are wet leaves on the road, make sure you're using extra caution and driving slowly.
We'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be back. Thank you for joining us. I'm meteorologist Brian Vandegraff. Make it a great Wednesday, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.